Welcome to Shawnee Union, and this week we're going to be going over light meters 101, who needs one, which ones should you buy, and which ones do I recommend. So stay tuned. So question number one is, do you need a light meter? And I think if you're using a camera like this, something digital, even a digital phone, probably don't need a light meter. Even for video, I chimp it. So I look at the back of the screen, I see if it's properly exposed, and then I can quickly adjust it. If you have live view mode, not much of a reason to need a light meter. If you're gonna get into digital photography and you wanna do flashes, like off-camera flashes, or balancing a couple of flashes for like portraiture or maybe product photography, then a light meter would come in handy. The reason I use a light meter is I use a lot of manual cameras like this. Some of them have light meters built in. Many times I'll buy a camera with a broken light meter, with an external light meter. That's why I have it, so I don't have to rely on the light meter in the camera, and then I get a much better deal on camera bodies too. And there's also just some older cameras that don't have light meters, so having a light meter is, for me, really useful and really needed, since I don't have a light meter usually in my camera. Next question, what is a light meter? Here's one that's pretty classic, the Sekonic L308S. It takes a reading of the light in the scene, and then it allows you to put those settings or those readings straight into the camera. If you do that, you get a properly exposed image, and it'll save you a lot of time. For example, right now I'm going to overexpose by 2 stops. Stops are measurements of exposure. It's also known as like 400%. So 1 stop is 200%, 2 stops is 400% overexposed, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is an example of me being overexposed by 2 stops. I'm gonna split the screen down to see how you can fix it in post, but you really can't fix it in post. So even with your software, you try to lower down your exposure, but it doesn't really work. You wanna nail it in camera. And for photography, especially film photography, you wanna do the same thing. You wanna get as much done correctly in camera first, rather than trying to fix it in post. So this is why you need a good light meter. So how do you use a light meter? So I'll meter this situation right here. So if the camera's pointing directly at me like it is, you want to take the light meter and put it either right underneath my eye or as close to my eye or nose, because when you're shooting photography, portrait photography, you want to expose the eyes correctly. A lot of portrait photography is just getting the eyes right, so you want to put it under their eyes and then hit this measure button. And then you'll get your reading. You're going to change the ISO or the shutter speed to whatever you want. For video, you have specific ones, but for photography, you can mess around with that. So you want to point this reflective dome towards the camera, and that's how you're going to get the accurate reading. If it's pointed away, it's actually going to meter like behind you. So you always want to make sure that this is pointing towards the camera, and then that it's going to measure the light, like how it's coming off, and then that's how you get proper exposures. It's a little tricky, but if the easiest way to remember is just point this at the camera, hit the button, and you're good to go. So which light meter should you buy? And I'm going to compare 2 today. I'm going to compare a classic, the Sekonic L308S. For handheld light meters, they go up in quality a lot, but I think if you're a starting out photographer, this would work great. It works great for just walking around, and it does flash capability too. And then on the other hand, I got this new one, this little device from Lumu. So Lumu sent this out for review, and I've been really loving it, and we'll talk about it in a second, but this is a small thing that plugs into your phone. Using their basic app, you can just measure it. One of the things online that I couldn't really find out and I really wanted to see was how this guy compares to this guy. So I went outside and did some tests with it, and they both gave out really clean results or really similar results. There were some cases when when this one and this one didn't give exactly the same results, but those are far and few between. And I think for the most part, they're pretty equal in performance. I was really surprised about this. Sekonic has been making light meters for, decades, and then Lumu came out with this Kickstarter thing and made it pretty quickly. And I was just intrigued by it. I was kind of one of those doubters who could this really equal this? And using it firsthand, I believe that they're pretty darn close. So if I were to choose between these 2 light meters, which one would I get? I would actually pick this one. So I actually bought this one first, then I asked Lumu to send this one out so I can compare them. But I like the Lumu a little bit better. And for the main thing is, I always have my phone on me. So you always have your phone on you when you go out shooting for calls or texts or whatever. So I always have my phone on me, and this is so small, fits in perfectly in the camera, fits in with the case, so they designed it pretty well. It's pretty rugged. I thought it would bounce around, or I would, move it a little bit and it would snap. None of that has happened so far. Comes in this pretty cool carrying case too. I keep it in my pocket and then go around and shoot. So you don't need to carry around this guy, so having this in your pocket, which I always have, so I always have this phone in my pocket, adding this is not big of a deal, and always having the ability to meter on me has been more important. Hope you guys enjoyed that video on light meters. If you guys have any other questions about this one or the Sekonic L38S, please leave it in the comments, but I'm gonna go back on my sabbatical and I will come back later, but I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video on light meters and why they are important to have. So thank you. See you guys. So what does